KSM Show.
What up, what up? I go by the name SARKODRE, Sako Diobidi Pompidi. You guys are watching the KSM Show. Keep it locked. You know what time it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach. And I'm ready to meet my first guest. And I'm telling you, today they are a duo. As I said at the beginning, we have Ndow and also Issac Mensah. And coming up first, put your hands together, show some love for Ndow. Very good, very good, very good. Nana, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
It's a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure.
It's a pleasure. And you are one of those, occasionally folks, I'm talking to these guests who started watching me when they were in diapers, you know. You go way back to...
Yes, no, I do remember when I was a child watching you on TV. So
now you're here.
I'm here, so...
Show us some love, man. And you're here for a great reason. I mean, you come up with a film, a documentary.
Yes.
And I told the people in the beginning, this documentary is about way back 44 Ghanaians that were killed in the Gambia.
Yes.
And you have a group called the African Network for Extrajudicial Killings and Forced Disappearance.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, we go by the acronym ANIKED. It's easier.
ANIKED.
Yes.
Okay. But before we talk about that, you yourself, your father was killed in the Gambia, something like that?
Yes, in 2013.
2013.
He was, he went missing, but, you know, we found out that he had been abducted by the security forces on direct orders of Yahya Jammeh, the former dictator of the Gambia, who now finds himself in Equatorial Guinea. And, you know, we searched for years. And then when he finally left in early 2017, January 2017, you know, information started flowing, and you know, we heard that he had
so when did you
for his execution.
How long was he missing before you knew he was dead?
He was missing for, I mean, 2013 to 2017, so that's 4 years.
4 years?
Yes.
And during that time, you were wondering where he was. What was happening?
We were searching, you know, reaching out to various groups. We reached out to the UN. We reached out to Senegal, because it happened in Senegal. They took him from Senegal. Yes. And we reached out to the Ghanaian government, because he was living in exile, and he was in Ghana as an exile, and then took up Ghanaian nationality.
Oh, okay.
Yes, well, citizenship, I'll say. So asking for the Ghanaian government for help, and we got nothing, no help. So we asked also Amnesty International, Red Cross, and that's how we were getting information.
For 4 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
I can only imagine what you were going through as a family, your mom.
It was, I mean, we're still going through that. We're still very traumatized.
Wow.
But it's...
and when did you finally get to know that this is the story, he'd been killed?
2017.
2017?
2017, yes.
Wow.
Because the newspaper released an article, so that was another shock to us. Because the article was just published.
So you just saw it in the article?
Yes, and they had arrested 2 people who were involved in the disappearance. And so that's why the article was published. Because he went missing with someone else. And so the brother of that person actually never gave up either. He was investigating and stuff. So he found 2 people, and then they were arrested. And so that's how the story came out. Yes.
So this has a lot to do with your passion for, because the reason you're here, folks, by the way, is because she has come up with a documentary called I Can't Bury My Father.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is really about the 44 that went missing, 44 Ghanaians that went missing in the Gambia in 2005?
In 2005, yes.
So your father's death triggered your passion to investigate this?
It did. I mean, it was very, for me, the way what I went through, I said, I don't want anybody to go through that. In an ideal world, it would not happen. What I can do for me is, you know, just be pushing so that impunity doesn't become, well, stay the norm in Africa. For us to rise up, it's like, I think as the younger generation, you have to get up and you want to be the change you want to see, right? We've been very active trying to move for accountability, especially in the Gambia, because we don't agree that you say let bygones be bygones. People, especially these are crimes against humanity we're talking about. We're talking about under Yaya Jammeh, we're talking about rape. He raped underage girls and over 18s as well. He tortured, he forcibly disappeared a lot of his citizens, including his family members who were vocal against him. He, killed the unarmed migrants, which was the case back then in 2005. There were arbitrary arrests, people fled the country. And so we really want to make sure that he's held accountable and really, set a precedent.
He's in Equatorial Guinea now,
He's in Equatorial Guinea, living with another dictator. So that's the challenge there. But, we'll get there. I have faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And keep the faith and keep the strength. It's amazing what it has inspired you to do so far. And I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you study film?
No, I did not.
No?
No.
So you just learned film online or something?
Yes, I Google searched.
You go? See the power of Google?
Exactly. So I sat there and I said, okay, how do I do this? Because I was researching and I was asking around and people were giving me some outrageous prices to do this. And then when I spoke to someone else, he said, your vision is so clear, the way you're explaining this. You really sound like you are the director. I'm not sure why you're giving this to someone else. Wow. You can do this.
Wow.
And I said, really? He said, yes. I said, okay, let me do this. And so I went online, I searched how you do a documentary. And then I just studied. And so it took me we are in January and I started in January 2018. So it took me, I have an obsessive personality whereby if I decide to do something, I do it. Oh, yes.
Wow.
So I studied, I would go to bed at 3 a.m., just reading about documentaries. And,
wow.
And then, yes. And I also love watching documentaries. So I think
this
that
is
was
your first one?
This is my first one,
wow.
but not my last.
No,
I already have an idea for the
and
next
you set
one.
up so well, because for the first one, I think it's like very, very, very commendable.
Thank
and
you.
It's been shown on TV in the Gambia, right?
Yes. It was shown prime time on one of the major TV stations, and they said that they had a huge impact on their audience. They have a large audience, and that they received so many comments that they aired it the next day again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Show some love, man. That's great. But the film is about the Ghanaian story.
Yes.
And let's take a moment, let's take a clip to see the teaser. And after the teaser, we're introducing the Ghanaian Issac Mensah, who lost his father. He was one of the 44 that got killed in the Gambia. Take a look at this.
Death is a serious state of affairs in Ghana. Funerals are as much for the dead as they are for the family. They give the bereaved an important sense of closure. It's the only way for a family to move on. But for that to happen, there is one thing you absolutely must have: the body of the deceased. My name is Issac Mensah, and I cannot bury my father.
Wow. Well, we're back. And fortunately for us, you came with Issac Mensah, who was like the narrator for your story?
Exactly. It's his story, so
Yes,
it's important for him to be around.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll have you introduce him to join us here.
Okay, so please, warm welcome to Issac Mensah, the narrator of the documentary.
Okay. There we go. Welcome to the show. Please have a seat. Oh, Isaac, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and you?
Thank you very much for asking. I'm doing very great too.
Oh, we thank God.
It's good to meet you, man.
Yeah, nice to be on.
How did you link up with Joe?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Back in 2017, like a campaign, an NGO came to Ghana, and their name is Trial International. So we met at Golden Gate in Kumasi. So from the way I narrated my story to them, he's actually a man. He went, and then Nana Joe was looking for someone to do a documentary with. So Benedict then linked me up to Nana Joe.
Oh,
and
okay,
then
okay.
We took it from there.
Okay.
So that is how come I met Nana Joe and the Annie.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So when you met her, what was the first conversation like? I mean,
Nana Joe said, "Oh, hi." It was on phone. We chat.
Oh, okay.
So she said, "Hi, Isaac. How are you doing? I'm Nana Joe, and I want to reach out to you. I have an idea of coming up with a documentary. Are you interested? Doing it, sharing your story to the entire world?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm interested. Why not? It's an untold story. I have to tell the public so that justice will be served for my family." So I agreed, and then we took it from there.
okay, okay. You guys have something identical in the way you both have lost your fathers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, through the same person. You've had closure, right? Because have you had closure because you found out he was dead? No, not really.
I mean, it's been said, but the remains have not been recovered.
Okay.
Yes, and then also we don't have justice, so no, we haven't had
You
closure.
haven't had closure.
No.
The same with you.
Yes. The case happened back in 2005, and we've not heard anything from the side of Gambian government, and then Ghana too. We've not heard much from the Ghanaian government too. So we've not had closure, and justice has not been attained. So we're still pushing till we get justice. Yeah.
What would mean closure to you? When at what point would you say, okay, now let's put the case to rest. Let's not to rest, but now at least there's closure. What would you want to see before you get to that?
I want to see the remains of my father. I want to see the remains of my father and give him a befitting burial, because he has to be buried with dignity. He is a man of dignity, so he has to be treated as such. And then I want Yaya Jammeh and his accomplices being tried at the law court, so that it will set a precedent for the future generation, that you can't just do anything anyhow. Just arrest someone because he's a migrant. You come up with some mere cases that they were mercenaries, and then you...
Oh, that was the excuse?
Yes,
that they were
they
missionaries?
were mercenaries, and then you finish
They were
them.
mercenaries?
But
Yes.
they were unarmed.
And you did not find any ammunitions on them. So you can't do that and go scot-free. So that will set precedents for the future generation. Yes.
You still have entertain any idea of hopefully seeing remains?
So, the men who committed the crimes, they can locate where they buried their remains, which is also the case for Isaac's. It turns out it's actually the same men who can locate the remains, and then we'll have them returned so that we can also do, perform the befitting funeral, and then justice. There's something about justice, and we're not talking about revenge. We're talking about making someone accountable, for his actions, which it hasn't completely destroyed a family. It's like communities. In Gambia, you have communities that are completely devastated by Yaya Jammeh.
Let me talk a little bit about how many siblings you have?
In total, I have 5 siblings.
5 siblings?
Well, sorry, I have 4 siblings, but 5 in total. Yes.
Oh, you're 5 in total, 4
Yes.
siblings, okay.
Yes.
And you?
We are 3.
There are 3 of you?
Yeah.
So the other 2 are, where?
I'm from Akumadan.
Akumadan.
Yeah.
So the other 2 are there?
Yeah, they are there.
Really?
Yeah, they are there.
And older or younger?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest. And how
Yes.
old were you when it
I was
happened?
12 by then.
You were 12?
So you can tell I have to grow up very early at
How did you find out? How did the news get to you?
In 2005, my father set off to Senegal to do a transit to Europe. So when he got there, he was trying to do his rounds, but it did not work out as he planned. So he called my mother and then told her that he will be coming back in August. My father was a cocoa purchasing clerk. So he said he will be coming back in August. So we were waiting for him until one day, one of my mother's siblings in Kumasi called my mom to inform her that she heard someone on Radio Mercury narrating a story about some Ghanaians who were trying to do transit through Gambia to Europe and were arrested and then murdered. So,
So you picked this news was on radio.
it was on Radio Mercury in 2005. So we then called Martin. Martin Tre was the sole survivor who narrated the story on Radio Mercury. So we called him to...
He was one of the 44.
Yes, he was one of the 44 and the sole survivor.
The sole survivor.
Yes. So we invited him to our hometown and then we showed pictures of my father to him. So when he looked at the picture, he confirmed back then
That was
to
him?
us that he was part of the journey they embarked on.
Okay.
But when they arrested them in 2005, they divided them into groups. And the groups, my father wasn't part of Martin's group.
I see. So the last time you saw him was before the arrest.
Yes. So he can't tell whether he had been murdered or he's still alive. So we got to know he's murdered in last year. That was last year when the junglers confessed at the Truth and then Reconciliation Commission in Gambia. So that was
The junglers are those who
the military. Yeah,
they're the paramilitary
yes,
people that is.
yes. They
Okay.
carried out the operations on the orders of Yaya Jammeh. That was what they confessed. That was last year. So that was...
So that's when you found out.
yes,
Yeah.
that my father had been murdered. Yes.
Wow. Wow. Whew. So doing this film, what was the, and while you've lived the experience and you had this, what was the part of the story that touched you most?
I think it was definitely the funeral side. You know, I think that emotionally also, you know, seeing a funeral and thinking about one that I would want to give my father, that was very emotionally, it was very hard for me. And also, you know, it brought back again that feeling of one thing that I completely, you know, out of all the injustices, that's another one. You know, not to have remains to, you know, say, it's okay now, go in peace. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, both of you. In the event that you never see any remains, are you ready to get to some point and say, even though we haven't seen the remains, let's have a funeral anyway and celebrate the life that they lived and whatever legacies that they have left? Are you prepared to do something like that, or you forever think that there has not been closure and there won't be closure?
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I think maybe then if we don't get the remains, it would then be having a celebration of life only after, you know, they faced justice.
Okay.
Yes. You
So
know,
the justice
yes,
at least is very key.
it's
Yeah.
very key. There's no celebration to have without, you know, it's either at least the justice side of things. Yes.
Same for you?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
I think I bear the same idea.
Okay.
Yeah. We I think they can give us the body. They can
Yeah.
give us the remains.
Yeah, yeah.
There are various means they can use to get us the remains. So they shouldn't sit back and say
We can't get it.
they can't
Yeah.
get it. They
Okay.
can do it. Yes, but the prime thing is to get justice.
Get
Yahya
justice.
Jammeh and then his accomplices being tried.
Okay.
Yes, I think that is the ultimate.
I believe it will
goal.
get there. I don't know when, but it will. Yes, that's just the laws of nature. You can't get away with that. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to this that actually in 2009, the Ghanaian government managed to get some bodies returned, 8 bodies or so. And I mean, we have various doubts about the identity of these bodies, because it turns out when we were doing the documentary that one of them was not even a Ghanaian. So, and when I spoke to them and his family and everything, they said they never took a DNA sample. They just told them, your father is not part of those bodies returned. His grandfather asked, but we want the body returned. And the Ghanaian government apparently told him, well, you can go and search yourself. And he said, how am I to do something like that? It's clearly in Gambia and you're my representative. So the Ghanaian government basically just wanted to just close the case. They could not be bothered. There's a mass grave in Osu where you just have 44 Ghanaians. They could not even be bothered to spell out the names. A grave that just says 44 Ghanaians who lost their lives under tragic circumstances. What were the tragic circumstances? Let's not gloss over this issue. Their names are not there.
Nothing.
No,
It's just like
and his family said from 2009, they never heard again from the Ghanaian government. These men came out last year, they spoke out, they still haven't heard from the Ghanaian government.
What do you want to hear?
One sad thing about it is that UN and ECOWAS did a fact-finding investigation in 2009, and then they shared the report with the Ghanaian government because they are our representatives, and they did not share it with us. Yes. So I wrote to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs requesting for that information, and then I wrote to them requesting for the coroner's report. And in 2009, the Gambian press government then gave out 500,000 USD as a goodwill gesture for those bodies he returned.
500,000
US dollars.
US dollars?
Yes. I've written to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs requesting for a detailed expenditure, a report on how that money was disbursed and spent. After this documentary.
You're talking about 50,000 or 500,000?
500,000 USD. And I've not received any.
And they paid the
They
UN?
gave us 10,000 Ghana cedis. We are 44 people, 44 victims. And then they gave us 10,000 Ghana cedis. Each. And for that one, it was not all of us that came, that showed up. So I want a vivid report on how that money was spent, how they used it. And till now, they've not responded. Could you brief us about how you disbursed, how the money was disbursed? Do you have any idea about it?
No, this was purely done by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
I had no clue. I just heard that they had given the family 10,000 cedis. They had used some to buy coffins. They had used some to dig graves, which I thought should have been government's responsibility. And then they had used, in fact, what even upset me was the fact that they even said that they had used some of the money as a donation. How could government use monies that had been released for the families, use the same money as donation, and then also use some as certain allowance for those who were the meeting?
With donations, who did they donate the money to?
I have no idea. I wasn't there.
Wow.
Yes, so I'm still waiting. I have the right to information. I'm a Ghanaian. And now recently the Right to Information Act has been passed. So that means I'm entitled to those informations.
Yeah.
So please they should share the information with me, because it is about me.
The Gambian government paid the $500,000 or the UN?
It was the Gambian
government.
Yes.
He
For
said
those 8 bodies he said he found in his territory. He did not admit the fact that he murdered them. He said he found
them in the territory.
Yes.
And that it was rogue elements that did that.
Rogue elements.
Yes, that did that.
We're talking about a dictatorship. The security forces report directly to him. They don't go rogue. So,
Wow.
so even for the Ghanaian government to accept such an explanation, I'm like, are we serious here? You know, and for us, we are very, really pushing the Ghanaian government right now, because the president, he was the Minister of Foreign Affairs at the time. He was the Minister of Foreign Affairs at the time. He's a human rights lawyer. We're always talking about, migration and issue and stuff. And right here we have such an important, story.
Any feedback from
I've not.
nothing at all?
Nothing. They've not shared the report back in 2005, 2009. It has been there 11 years. What are they keeping it for?
Wow.
Why are they keeping it? They have to share it with us. We are the people involved. Let's know what happened. There has to be some transparency and accountability. They owe it to us. They have to protect our interests. They don't have to protect the interests of a foreigner.
How are your relationship with the other families? Are you linked with them?
Yes, I'm linked with them. I'm linked. I'm very, I'm into them. I do call them. You can see from the documentary, one victim's son was on board. And I'm trying to come up with an association for that.
Where can people, the documentary is online?
It is.
It is online?
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
If you just search, I cannot bury my father, it pops up.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I cannot bury my father. That's the title of the documentary. And when you hit that on YouTube, it pops up. So please take a look at the documentary, and so you get to understand what we are talking about. And the sad part is that, well, the good part is that it's been aired twice in the Gambia.
Yes.
And you're still struggling to get it aired in Ghana.
Absolutely.
Because the TV stations want upfront airtime money.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the story of Ghana, by the way.
Oh.
Welcome to Ghana.
Thank you.
Well, I hope that eventually we'll get to see it on Ghana TV too. And I mean, what can I say? I mean, Joe, congrats for deciding that we won't let this matter die. I think the saddest thing I've noticed about us as a people is how quickly we forget. You know, since the Holocaust, if I may lecture for a second, the Jewish went through the Holocaust and they said, never again. They have made films about that. They've made documentaries. They kept hammering it and they said, never again. Everybody knows about the Holocaust. Nobody knows about the slave trade.
No.
You know.
I find it sad about Africans.
Very, very sad. So it's, for what it's worth, it's very, 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 I'm elated to know that as long as you are, both of you, you have decided we are not going to shove this under the rug. We're going to keep this in the limelight, and we're going to keep pushing, and believe me, there will be justice. Sure. Yeah. So thank you very much for sharing your story. It's been a pleasure, and I'm very, very happy. And congratulations. Isaac, keep hope alive, and things will work out.
Thank you so much.
Joe, congratulations.
Thank you.
One more time.
Thank you.
And stick around, folks. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.